Good morning, and welcome. We'll be starting here in just a moment. We are excited about today's webinar. We have over 100 participants in today's webinar, so we are excited about this topic. We know it is timely topic for all of our participants. So we was going to give it a few more moments before we get started. But while we wait, we're curious to find out where you are dialing in from. So take a moment, put in the chat where you are calling from.
Absolutely.
Just to let you know, we are calling from the DMV area. That's for DC, Maryland, Virginia. We are actually in Maryland. So we want to hear where you are from. So if you go ahead and put in the chat where you are calling from. All right. I see we have Silver Spring, Maryland. Hello,
Absolutely.
Silver Spring.
Mm-hmm. I see somebody did put it Silver Spring. And actually, the registration was over 175 people, but we're limited to 125. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We got Fairfax.
I see people putting in the Q&A. Ideally, it would be in the chat, but the Q&A is fine too. Let me get over here to the...
Wow. Right. Central Florida. All right. Welcome.
Baltimore, Ellicott City, Beltsville. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Awesome. Like I said, a very important, timely topic. Would you not agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So while we're preparing to get started, we want to keep this interactive. That's why we wanted you to find the chat. Going to let you know we'll be engaged in polls today. We want you to get out of it what you're going to let you know that you will get out of it what you put into this session today. So go ahead, get prepared, get rid of all distractions, and be ready to focus on this because this is all about you today.
Yeah,
we'll save time.
Right.
We'll save time at the end for live Q&A. Go ahead, Darryl. You had something to share?
No, I was just going to say that we're really excited. We're looking for their participation. I'll be monitoring the chat and the questions. I'm going to try to save the questions till the end, but because we have a lot of material to cover, but we're excited about having them on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But, while we're waiting, I want to pose one more thing because, I find that when we go someplace expecting, we now know that we can look for what we're going to receive, right? When we go in expecting, we will receive. So what would you need to happen within the next 45 minutes for this to be a win for you? Put that answer in the chat. What are you expecting to get out of this webinar today? What would be a win for you? Drop that information in the chat.
Absolutely. Let me see what we have here. Southern Maryland. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Learning new strategies to save. Okay. Well, we'll be able to talk about some of that. All right. Confirmation that I will be prepared to retire in 3 years. I don't know if you'll be able to confirm it or whatever, but you certainly have a good idea on where you stand. And if there's any gaps that exist, you should be able to start taking a look at that. What to do now for a better retirement. So we got a lot of good feedback here, Alicia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good deal. Mm-hmm. Well, some things I wanted to really emphasize. Some things is did you know? Did you know, even with strong careers and savings, that women still retire with about 30% less income than men on average? Did you know that? That's an amazing statistic there. Mm-hmm. Did you know that women live longer than men by an average of 5 to 6 years, yet often enter retirement with significantly fewer financial resources? Did you know that? And did you know nearly 80% of women will be solely responsible for their finances at some point, amplifying the impact of unseen retirement gaps? These are amazing statistics that further solidify the value and the necessity for this conversation we're going to have today. So I want to pose this question to you. What don't you know about your retirement plan that could cost you later? Most people find themselves in this stage of life. They plan to retirement, but not to retirement. That means they're okay, yes, I'm going to retire. They don't necessarily stop to make sure that all the moving parts are in place. Or they think that they have time to prepare for retirement. Oh, I've got time. I'll get to it when I get to it. Or they're not thinking about it at all.
All right.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Alicia Pryor with DNA Financial Associates, and I'm so glad you chose to spend time with us today. This conversation is especially important for women who have worked hard, built strong careers, served their families, supported their communities, and now want to make sure retirement does not become a guessing game for them. Today's session is called Why Women Wait Too Long for Fixed Retirement Gaps or to Fix Retirement Gaps. And the reason this matters is simple. Many women have good benefits, strong savings, and solid careers, but still face hidden gaps that can affect taxes, healthcare, survivor income, lifestyle, and family security. Our goal is not to overwhelm you with more information. Our goal is to help you see what needs to be coordinated before retirement decisions become harder to change.
Alicia, it looks like they have a problem with the audio. I see a couple of people here that says they can't hear, no audio. I just want to see from thumbs up if it's possible to put thumbs up and see if that's been remedied.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it went funny for a moment, but now it's back.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Before we get started, we want to make clear that today's presentation is educational in nature. We'll discuss concepts, examples, and planning strategies, but this is not individual tax, legal, or investment advice. Please take a moment to read the important disclosure and provide a thumbs up when you have done so.
Okay.
Everyone's situation is different. Your pension, TSP, Social Security, healthcare benefits, marital status, family needs, tax picture, and retirement goals all matter. So as you listen today, think of this as a framework to help you better question and identify areas that may need to take a closer look. And that is an important distinction. The purpose today is to help you understand the moving parts and where gaps may exist. Before taking action, you should review your personal facts with qualified professionals who can evaluate your full picture. Before we go deeper, we'd love to understand where you are in your retirement timeline. This helps you listen through the right lenses, whether retirement is right around the corner, already here, or still several years away. There is no right or wrong answer. This simply helps you assess where you are today. So where are you on this journey? Already retired? Planning to retire within the next 1 to 2 years? Planning to retire within the next 3 to 5 years? Planning to retire in the 6 to 10 years? More than 10 years away, or you're just not sure yet? Go ahead and take a few seconds to answer that poll.
Yeah, we should be ready to start that drum roll in a minute here. That give us a good survey of where people are.
Okay, Darryl, what are you seeing in the survey?
In the survey, I'm not seeing anything just yet in the survey.
You can see the results in interactions. We have mostly B.
Absolutely, B. We have many people in the 1 to 2 years. It's 33%, and then we have quite a few people in the 3 to 5 year.
Oh wow! Okay, all right. So if you answered already retired, or within the 1 to 2 years, or within 3 to 5 years, this is especially important. Your income, tax, Social Security, your health care, and protection decisions should not be handled separately. This is exactly what we help review during our financial clarity sessions. And if you answered 6 to 10 years, more than 10 years away, or you're not sure yet, that is still valuable. Early planning gives you more room to make tax smart, income smart, protection smart decisions before choices become limited.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Before we jump into the content, though, we want you to know who you're spending your time with today. Darryl and I bring a combination of financial planning, tax planning, coaching, military service, and personal life experience to this conversation. We don't approach retirement as a spreadsheet-only issue. Retirement is about income, taxes, healthcare, family, lifestyle, protection, and peace of mind. Many women carry a tremendous amount of responsibility for themselves, their spouse, children, aging parents, and sometimes grandchildren. So this conversation is not just financial, it's personal. Darryl's background as a certified financial fiduciary, chartered financial consultant, accredited tax professional, and retired Air Force veteran shapes how we look at planning. You'll be hearing more from Darryl later in the presentation. We believe retirement decisions should be coordinated. A pension decision affects taxes. A TSP withdrawal affects income. A survivor election affects family security. Healthcare choices affect cash flow. None of these decisions should be made in isolation. Here's how we'll move through today's session. First, we'll set the stakes and talk about why good benefits can still leave gaps. Then we'll look at the real problem, which is fragmented planning. After that, Darryl will walk us through a case study of Eleanor R, which will show how a woman can have strong assets and still need a better income strategy. Then we'll move into an action steps that you can apply to your own situation. And finally, we'll close with questions and the next steps for anyone who wants some more personal retirement gap review. So I encourage you to take notes. Don't just listen for information, listen for yourself. When something sounds familiar, write it down. This webinar is for federal employees, military families, and government contractors, especially women between ages 55 and 70 who are approaching retirement, already retired, or trying to make sense of several major decisions at once. Many of you have worked in structured systems where benefits were available, but not always explained in a way that made the full retirement picture clear. You may know that you have FERS, TSP, FEHB, Social Security, maybe FEGLI, possibly military benefits or contractor plans. But the bigger question is, do they all work together? That is the key issue. Strong benefits are not the same as a coordinated plan. A federal employee may have FERS, Social Security, and TSP, but still not know which income source to use first. A military spouse may have TRICARE, Survivor Benefit Plan, VA benefits, or survivor concerns. A contractor may have several old 401ks and no unified withdrawal strategy. The common thread is this: valuable benefits, but too many disconnected decisions. By the end of today, we want you to leave with a clearer picture of where your own retirement gaps may be. Not a perfect plan, just a gap map. That means you should begin seeing where income may fall short, where taxes may be higher than necessary, where healthcare decisions need attention, and where survivor or family protection may need to be reviewed. To win today is not simply learning more. To win is knowing what to do next. When we talk about a retirement gap map, we're looking at 4 major areas. First, your income gap, the difference between what you need to live on and what your fixed income provides. Second, your tax gap, places where poor withdrawal sequencing can create unnecessary tax drag. Third, your healthcare and survivor gap. What happens if health costs rise or one spouse passes away? And fourth, your coordination gap, the order in which decisions need to be made before retirement options narrow. Before we go any further, let's pause and make this personal. This poll is launched, and again, there's no right or wrong answer. This is simply to help us or help you assess where you are today. How confident are you that your retirement income will last as long as you do? I believe the poll has started.
Okay.
We'll give it a couple more seconds.
All right, so we should be able to go ahead and close that out. But overwhelmingly right now, somewhat confident is B, somewhat confident. I have estimates, but no clear plan. That's over 50%. And then the next one really is C, not very confident. I'm unsure if my money will carry me through retirement or will last.
Okay.
Then the last one is I really have not looked at this yet, and so that's significant. That really is significant. I mean, people, and this is a good time to be looking at your gaps and answering those questions now. Absolutely.
Well, yes, and thank you for answering honestly. And as you said, if you selected B, C, or D, you are not alone. Many people have account balances, estimates, and benefit statements, but not a written plan.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly the kind of gap we help identify in a complimentary financial clarity session. The key word is written. Confidence usually increases when the plan moves from thoughts and estimates into a clear written income strategy. So take an opportunity to scan the barcode and schedule that complimentary review.
Yeah, yep, be a good time.
The hidden problem, that's going to be fragmented planning. Most people ask, when can I retire? And that makes sense. It is a natural question. But for women, especially women who may live longer, carry family responsibility, or face widowhood at some point, that question is not enough. The better question is, how do all my decisions work together? Eligibility does not mean readiness. You may be eligible to retire, but that does not mean your income plan, your tax plan, your healthcare plan, and your survivor plan are aligned. FERS, TSP, Social Security, taxes, healthcare, and survivor protection are not separate decisions. They are connected decisions. If you make them one at a time without a written strategy, you may still retire, but you may retire with unnecessary risk. Fragmentation does not always look like a crisis. Sometimes it looks like this. You have money, you have benefits, but you still feel uneasy. You may be asking yourself, am I using the right account? Will taxes surprise me? What if healthcare costs rise? What if something happens to me or my spouse? That emotional drag is real. And for many women, the stress comes not from having nothing, but from not having a clear plan. There are 5 major costs of fragmentation. Income risks happen when you do not have a written withdrawal plan. Tax waste happens when all income sources are pulled without coordination. Healthcare gaps happen when FEHB, Medicare, TRICARE, or long-term care questions are delayed. Family vulnerability happens when survivor benefits, insurance, estate documents, and beneficiaries are not aligned. And emotional drag happens when every year feels like a new decision instead of following a written plan. Now that we talked about the different types of retirement gaps, let's pause again. This next poll will help you identify which concern feels most important or most urgent to you right now. We'll go ahead and launch that poll.
And while you do that, I want to reply to somebody in chat. No, this webinar is not exclusively for women. The issues and the challenges remain the same. So for those who are on the line and that are male or whatever it is, you'll have the same questions that you'll want to answer. Mm-hmm. Okay. Poll 3. Okay, and that poll is ended. That's interesting because we have A, B, and C really kind of running neck and neck, running out of money, almost 30, paying too much in taxes, almost 27%. And then the last one is healthcare and long-term cost, which is 27.
One of the things we do is help you identify which gap should be addressed first, because not every gap has the same urgency or impact. This is the main idea for today. Coordination closes hidden gaps. A lot of women are not behind, they are not careless, and they are not unprepared. They simply have pieces of a plan that have never been organized into one system. And when the pieces are not organized, it can feel like something is missing, because something is missing. Our financial DNA approach is about identifying the moving parts, assigning every dollar a job, and documenting the order of action. That means we want to know what income comes in, what expenses go out, what account fills the gap, what tax impact that creates, and what protections are in place for the household. Nothing should be left to guessing. I want you to look at this checklist honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know your TSP balance, but not your annual income gap? Do you have cash reserves, but no rule for when to use them? Are you unsure which account to tap first? Do you worry about taxes, but don't have a written tax map? Have you postponed healthcare decisions because they feel too complicated? If you check 2 or more, please hear me clearly. This is not about shame. This is about coordination. Knowing about account balances is not the same as knowing retirement income. Having insurance is not the same as having a survivor protection. Having savings is not the same as having a reserve strategy. The question is not, do I have assets? The question is, are those assets organized to support retirement efficiently? A coordinated plan gives you 3 things many people are really looking for: clarity, control, and confidence. Clarity means you know what comes in, what goes out, and what fills the gap. Control means you have a strategy for withdrawals, taxes, and reserves. Confidence means your family is not left guessing if life changes. Coordination does not mean we can predict everything, because we cannot, but we can decide what happens first, second, and third. If the market drops, what do we use? If tax changes, what do we adjust? If healthcare costs rise, what bucket handles that? If a spouse dies, what income remains? That is the value of a written plan. This is the framework we use to help people start closing the gaps. First, we inventory benefits. Second, we calculate the income gap. Third, we map taxes. Fourth, we protect the household. Fifth, we write the action plan. As we move into the case study, which will be the next thing, I want you to start thinking about your own situation. What income do you know is guaranteed? What income still has to come from savings and investments? And which accounts would you tap first? The order matters. You cannot design a withdrawal strategy until you know the income gap. You cannot evaluate tax impact until you know where withdrawals are coming from. You cannot protect the households until you know what income survives a major life event. And you cannot create confidence until the plan is written down. Let's check in on one of the most overlooked areas, taxes. Many people assume taxes will automatically go down in retirement, but that is not always how it works. Have you reviewed how taxes may impact your retirement income after you stop working? Let's launch the next poll and see the responses.
Oh, responses are coming in pretty quick. Okay, good. Give it a few more minutes here. And the poll, we've ended the poll. Okay, can you hear me? We've ended the poll, and we have less than 10% that says yes, they have a proactive tax strategy, but B and C are clearly the high points. Almost 30% are somewhat, but still have questions, and then C is the largest, 57%. No, I have not reviewed this in detail, and that's significant. So,
Okay. Yes, this is a big one. Many retirees are surprised by taxes in retirement because pensions, traditional TSP, or IRA withdrawals, Social Security taxation, and required minimum distributions can all interact. If you selected B, C, or D, it may seem there are still decisions that can be reviewed before retirement, and some may still be movable. And this is exactly why we encourage people not to wait until everything is locked in. A short planning conversation can help you see what may need attention before retirement decisions become harder to change. Now, Darryl will go over a teaching case study of Eleanor R.
Yeah, so Alicia, she covered all the highlights and everything, some of the key aspects you want to be looking at as you identify those gaps. We're going to give you a scenario based off of a real world situation, but we've kind of modified it and stuff for security and privacy, etc. So this is a teaching example here, but we're going to talk about Eleanor. And Eleanor represents a situation that we often see when it comes to helping people plan for retirement, in particular women. Many have worked real hard, extremely hard, done many of the right things. In this particular case, she had strong assets. She has a dependable income, but she does not have a coordinating distribution plan. We spend a lot of time in the accumulation phase, getting ready or leading up to retirement, but we oftentimes, people oftentimes blow it when it comes to the distribution phase, and that's making sure that they plan through retirement. Many women, I believe, can relate to Eleanor because on paper, she looks extremely good when you see her numbers, but internally, there's still some uncertainty. And again, this is an illustrative case, and the numbers are designed for teaching purposes, not as a specific recommendation, because each person's DNA is unique. Could you go back? Each person's DNA is a little unique. Eleanor does not have accumulation problems. As I said, she has a distribution problem. And in retirement, the question changes from how much have I saved to really, how do I turn what I saved into sustainable, tax-smart income that will last throughout my life. At first glance, many people would say, as I said before, that she looks fine. Maybe even some financial advisors or tax people say, oh, you're fine, you got plenty of money. But the question is not whether or not she has money. The question is whether her money is organized to support her lifestyle, reduce unnecessary taxes, and protect her future. Eleanor's issue is that she has a clear annual gap. We know that gap. We identified it. And her fixed income, those things that Alicia mentioned, those are guaranteed income, is $58K. Her lifestyle need, however, is $82K. That leaves $24K in annual income gap that must come from her portfolio. We're going to talk about a portfolio real quickly. You see her portfolio has $1.15 million in it. So she has the assets, but they're different pots and different colors of money when it comes to taxation, and she should give some considerations to how it's withdrawn. She has different types of accounts, like I said, the IRA or TSP. Somebody asked earlier, what was a TSP? It is a thrift savings plan. It is a government plan which is similar to 401ks for federal employees. But in this case, she had TSP, IRA assets, brokerage assets, and savings and CDs. And each of them are taxed differently. So the planning question is, which bucket should fill that gap and in what order? As you see here, it's an issue of strong assets and weak coordination. And this is where, many of our clients, women and female clients, actually all of our clients see themselves or often see themselves. In this particular case, Eleanor has strong assets but weak coordination. She had money but no written withdrawal plan. She had cash but no clear purpose for it. She had concern about taxes and healthcare, significant, but no integrated plan. Emotionally, that can feel exhausting. 1 month, she felt secure. The next month, she was wondering if she was making the wrong decision. The technical issue here is about distribution, as I said earlier. So if Eleanor pulls too much from the IRA, she may increase her ordinary taxable income, and this is her case. She was taking too much from the TSP. A large portfolio without withdrawal strategy is not a retirement plan. It is simply a starting point. So let's start with the first planning step. And then you'll want to walk yourself through this also, a part of this process. But we're going to start with the first planning step to identify or calculate income gap. So first thing Eleanor needed to know was how much she needed to live her quality of life. We know that that's $82,000. And we also know that her pension and Social Security, that guaranteed income was $58,000. So if you happen to be in the DMV area, and many people are somewhat fortunate because they have TSP, they have military retirement. Some even may be able to layer on top of that contractor retirement. And that's guaranteed income in addition to the Social Security. And so once you know that foundational income, you match it against what your quality of life needs are. And whatever that delta is, that gives you an idea of where what your shortfalls are. In this particular case, she had a shortfall of $24K. And so she had to take $24K per year out of her portfolio. And again, this is simple math, simple calculation, but it's powerful because it turns uncertainty into a finite number. Once we had an idea that the gap was 24K, we were able to design around that. And so the question became, should that 24K come from the IRA, the brokerage account, or savings or some other combination? And that decision made a difference, once we looked at it. $1 from a traditional IRA is generally taxed as ordinary income. So whatever tax bracket a person's in, that's what they pay taxes on. $1 from a brokerage account may receive capital gains treatment, which may or may not be taxed at a lower tax rate. And then the last thing, $1 from savings may have little or no additional tax impact if principal is used, because you've already paid money on that. So you really want to understand your buckets of money and how it's taxed. Your tax deferred, and tax free. And the source really does matter. Okay. Before planning, Eleanor was pulling, as I said before, that 24 out of her IRA. And that meant that she was paying $24,000 at the ordinary income tax in addition to the 58. So whatever her tax level, her tax bracket is. After redesigning it, we really were able to take from different pots of money and demonstrate that 10K coming from the IRA, 8K from a brokerage account, and 6K from the savings or reserves really was able to meet some of her needs and reduce the taxes and create some additional cash flow. So the lifestyle income stayed the same, but the tax character changed. And that's the point that I'm trying to make it here. Retirement plan is not always about spending less. Sometimes it's about sourcing income smarter. Okay. The next step really is you really want to make sure you right size your reserves and assign jobs. So, there's a saying that if I have to get up and go to work, everybody else should get up and go to work too. Well, same thing about your money. Your money should always, most of your money should be working for you because there are things that are eating away at it if it's not. And so in Eleanor, she had $200K in savings and CDs, and that may feel comforting to many people. Cash does feel safe, but think about it. Cash without a job can create some quiet risk. It may not keep up with inflation, and I think a lot of us can identify with that in the current economy and everything else, how quickly a dollar can erode, the value of a dollar can erode. And if it just sits idle, it just quickly erodes away. And it may create confusion because you don't know when to use it and when not to use it. So in this particular example, we right-size the reserve. Instead of leaving the full 200K idle, we assigned it jobs. 100K became the core reserve for emergency funds, near-term spending, and healthcare. That's $100,000 that she can pull in liquidity, that she can pull anytime she had a crisis or anything else, and use that if she needs. But the other 100K became purpose-driven capital. And so what I mean by that is it was still aligned to the plan, but it was positioned to work harder than the idle cash. I'll give you an example. Got $100,000 in an account, and she needed $6K to withdraw every year from her what she had as CDs and everything else. Repositioning that money could generate an interest income, $6K, whatever is vested at. We know there's some risk associated with that, but by putting that 100K to work, she's able to generate income from that that will replace the money that she needs and still allow her to maintain that 100K. We're not saying spend the money. We're just simply saying assign it a job. Okay. Now, when we look at this slide, this is a summary slide. So this is the takeaway. How does this really impact? And again, these are high-level numbers for illustrative purposes. Each person's financial DNA differs. And so you really have to take a look at your gaps, your shortfalls, your scenario to find out what your numbers are. But small improvements can become meaningful over time. Eleanor reduced unnecessary IRA withdrawals, improved her tax efficiency, clarified her reserve strategy, updated coordination items, and reduced month-to-month worry. And that's one of the key things. For many women, the last part, I think, probably matters significantly. A plan should not just look good mathematically. It should help you sleep much better at night. So in this teaching example, Eleanor reduced unnecessary IRA/TSP taxable withdrawals by $14K per year. That created an estimated federal tax improvement around $17 to $21K per year, depending on the full facts of her case and most people's case. The annual withdrawal strain improved by roughly 9.5K for this particular illustration. And so what does that mean? So over a 10-year period, that's 95K that she kept in her household, that she keeps in her household. And more importantly, she doesn't lose the opportunity for that money to be put to work and grow and continue to ensure that she has enough funds available to meet any contingencies, to meet significant contingencies moving forward. Now, the actual results depend again on the filing status, deductions, state taxes, Social Security taxation, capital gains, and other factors. So I want to stress again, as Alicia mentioned earlier, you really want to get with your tax professional, financial advisor, or schedule your financial clarity call so we can have a discussion. But the lesson is clear. Unmanaged gaps can compound and really erode your funds. Okay.
Wow. So we looked at Eleanor's situation, and now I want to bring it back to your own life. The next poll is about whether your retirement decisions have been reviewed together, not one piece at a time, but as a coordinated plan. Let's take a moment while we give everyone an opportunity to respond to this poll.
Okay. And we are about ready to end it. And this is poll 5. Give me a second here. I am not seeing poll 5 here, so give me a second. Oh, excuse me. It's actually poll 6. It's actually poll 6. So what we have here, when was the last time you had retirement income tax, Social Security, and protection strategy review? Well, B, C, and D were the clear runners with 19% at B within the last year, more than a year, roughly 19%. And then the last one was 52%. Never. I have reviewed pieces, but not everything together. So it's significant.
Wow. It's significant. Thank you for responding, because if you selected C or D, that is exactly why this conversation matters.
Absolutely.
Many people have reviewed pieces of their retirement, maybe the TSP, maybe Social Security, maybe taxes, or maybe insurance, but nothing together. Retirement planning works best when the pieces are reviewed together. That is why our financial clarity session is designed to help you map where you currently stand, identify what still may be movable, and leave with a one-page summary of potential gaps. At DNA Financial, we approach retirement differently because we know real life does not happen in separate categories. Your tax return is connected to your retirement income. Your retirement income is connected to your healthcare choices. Your healthcare choices are connected to your spouse and survivor plan. Your family protection is connected to estate documents, beneficiaries, and cash reserves. So when people come to us, we are not just asking, how much money do you have? We are asking, how is everything working together? Our process is integrated by design. We look across retirement income, tax planning, insurance, and financial coaching. That matters as a technically is one area, and one area can still create a poor result if it conflicts with another area. For example, a withdrawal may solve this year's need, but create a tax problem. However, benefit may reduce pension income, protect. A cash reserve may feel safe, but may be too large or too idle. The goal is now I want to bring it back to you. The question is not only, do I have enough money? The question is my money organized to produce income efficiently? Ask yourself these 4 questions. Have you calculated your annual income gap? Have you mapped your income sources by tax treatment? Have you right-sized your cash reserves? Have you created a written distribution plan? If the answer is no to one or more of these, that does not mean you have failed. It means you have planning work to do. And the sooner you do it, the more choices you have. And I would add this: retirement planning gets harder when decisions are delayed. Some decisions become more expensive later. Some options narrow. Some tax opportunities disappear. Some healthcare and survivor choices become harder to fix. That is why we want people to address these gaps while they still have flexibility. Before we move to our final takeaway, I want to ask one last question. This one is simple, but it may be the most important question for today. Would it be helpful to receive a one-page summary showing where your retirement gaps may be? We'll go ahead and launch that poll and let's see what the results are.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, getting that feedback here. I tell you, it's exhausting trying to stay up top of the chat Q&A. Got a lot of good questions here. But I think we could probably get ready and close that. Give it about 5 more seconds, and then we can close it.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're seeing here is, yes, I would like that. That's about roughly 50%. And then maybe I need to learn more. That's 47. And we have some who already have a retirement plan, and less than 5% said not right now. But outstanding feedback. Yeah, a lot of interest. It's good.
For those who answered yes or maybe, the next step is to schedule a complimentary 45-minute financial clarity session. In that session, we will help you map where you currently stand, show you what is still movable, and help you leave with a one-page summary of your potential gaps.
Yeah,
and
this is
go ahead.
No, I was going to go ahead, Alicia. Mm-hmm.
And let me be clear, this is not about pressure. This is about clarity. You may be in better shape than you think, or there may be a few gaps that need attention. Either way, you deserve to know. If you saw yourself in Eleanor's story, or if you recognize even one gap today, your next step is to not more random research. Your next step is clarity. You have worked too hard to enter retirement guessing. You deserve to know how your pension, TSP savings, Social Security, healthcare, survivor decisions, and taxes work together. Financial Clarity Session is designed to help you identify where you stand across these major decisions. We look at what is already working, what may be missing, what is still movable, and what may be close to locking in. The goal is to give you a clearer picture and a practical next step. So here is our invitation. Schedule your complimentary 45-minute financial clarity session with DNA Financial and Associates. Bring your questions, bring your statements, bring your concerns. We will bring the framework. We will help you map where you currently stand on each of the key retirement decisions. We will show you what is still movable and what may be close to locking. And you will leave with a one-page summary of where your gaps may be, whether or not we ever speak again. Because the real question is this: will the decisions you make today make your future self proud? This is Eleanor reflecting on that, decisions that she made. What do you think? So schedule your complimentary review today. Take the next steps towards confidence, clarity, and control.
Okay, before we move into the questions, take a moment to write down the one area that stood out most to you today. Income, taxes, Social Security, healthcare, survival protection, or having a written action plan. That answer may be pointing you to your next best step. And when you ask your questions, don't worry about whether they sound technical. If you're wondering about it, trust me, somebody else probably is also. We're here to make this plan practical and useful.
Okay, great. Now let's open it up for Q&A. Let's see.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have quite a few here that I'm going to have to go back to the beginning and scroll through them and try to pick out we have about 10 minutes here and try to pick out some of the key ones. Again, we have great participation from actually around the country, a lot here in the DMV area, so thank you. But we also have people as far away as California and far west as California and as south as far as south. as Florida. Okay. Okay. As I said earlier, the webinar is not exclusively for women. I'm sure that you're able to, people were able to find issues and challenges that all must consider when they go into retirement. I did explain what the TSP is. Hopefully I cleared that answer up. I cleared that up for the person that asked the question. Let's see here.
Let's see, Darryl. We have a question from Sandra. She's asking, can you say that again about the tax from different accounts?
Yeah. So the big thing about the taxes from different accounts is that they're taxed differently. So if you have money in your traditional IRA, TSP, 401k, that's going to be taxed at what they consider your marginal tax bracket. If you're in the 24% tax bracket, that's what it's going to be taxed at when it comes over as income. So each $1,000 that you make, $240 doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Uncle Sam. Now that varies depending on a lot of different things like your filing status, etc. Then you have your tax deferred. That's something that you that becomes taxable in the future. Again, like your TSP and some of the other things. But then you have the other category, which is tax free. That tax free money might be something like a Roth or whatever. You've already paid taxes on it, and when you withdraw from that, you don't have to pay taxes on it. But some people think it's more appropriate to withdraw immediately from a Roth. That may not necessarily be the case, depending on what you have in there and how long you want it to grow. And then the last piece is it's also considered tax free. It's considered taxable, but that's the capital gains, which is taxed at ordinary income, depending on your overall income, or it may be taxed at a more favorable tax rate at 0 or 15%, depending on what marginal tax bracket a person is in. So there's a lot of complexities that you have to take into consideration, and it really does matter how you deal with it when you withdraw. Okay. Can you say that again about the different accounts? Okay, that was one. Okay.
Well, here's one from Lee. Are there associated costs for a broker? If so, what are the fees?
The cost, yes, there are associated costs for a broker, typically for a broker, but the fees vary. They can vary anywhere from you typically see them from 1% to 1.5%. And there's something to be said about having a managed account, unless you are an investment professional, somebody who manages your account, make sure that it's balanced appropriately, et cetera. It definitely is worthwhile. So again, when you look at the fees relative to the return on investment, it's something to consider. I'm not giving any investment advice here. Again, I just want to make sure that people understand that brokerage accounts there's nothing wrong with it, and should not be afraid of paying a fee, because during the accumulation fee phase, it really does matter. That's when you're growing your income as you plan for retirement. And then when you get in retirement, you really want to understand what level of risk you're willing to take. Yeah.
All right. A question from Tanya. She says, I am currently 48 with 28 years of federal employment under my belt. I am also currently buying back my 8 years of military active duty time. I would like to fully retire by 58 and a half years old. Will there be a penalty pulling from my TSP at that age, or should I plan for alternatives?
So TSP, you have to be 59 and a half to withdraw funds. So it looks like you may have a year gap in between there. And so you have to look at your other resources that you have available. Do you have stuff in income in brokerage accounts, savings, or some other type of liquidity? And so that really is a question to sit down and kind of talk about in your overall DNA, because you really have to understand, what the true assets that you're working with to figure out how you want to do your distribution strategy moving forward.
Right.
What other foundational income will you have? Let me see here. So you're buying back the military, so you're not retired military. Yeah, and so that will add to your federal employment. So that gives you more time there. And if you start your retirement from the federal, you'll have that retirement income. But will that be enough to meet your income gap that we discussed earlier?
Right. So that'll be a good time to sign up for that complimentary review that we discussed to kind of narrow that down for you so you can have your gap map moving forward. Do you work with people not in the DMV area? Absolutely, we do.
Absolutely. We have clients from all around the world. I'll tell you the truth. Work with people virtually, and we actually do intakes and sit down and have a conversation. You grab a cup of coffee, we grab a cup of coffee, and we sit down and have a discussion about your scenario. And almost as good as being there.
Right. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alicia, for jumping through that. I was trying to pull some of those questions, but I see on the side here that they do have a pop-up for questions. Hopefully we'll give you another 4 minutes. If I didn't answer your questions or didn't pick them out of the chat, just pop them in the question one more time here, and we'll try to get to them. Here we go.
Okay.
What is that one? Did that one come up for you, Alicia?
Someone did mention something about this being solely for women, if it's something for men as well. You know, we specifically identify women in this area for this topic, but the same
So it looks like we did lose Alicia's sound there, and so what I'm going to do is pick up here. Yes, we are related. I think Alicia may have dropped out, and so with that said, I think that we are about ready to wrap up for the 1 hour session. Sorry for the technical. Oh, here she's coming back in. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Alicia, I think you dropped out for a second there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Well, again, someone was asking about women only for the focus group being women. And I was just stating that we chose women because we live longer than men. Oftentimes we are the primary caregivers. We have lots of responsibilities in retirement because of the longer life expectancy. And oftentimes we're so busy taking care of others that we're not stopping to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves in retirement through the lifetime of retirement. So we wanted to make sure that women stop to take a look at this to ensure that all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But these methods, this information is valuable to everyone. So this is good information to all of our men out there as well. And men, if you have a woman that you care about, share this with her as well. We want to make sure that everyone is covered.
Absolutely. Oh, and one last question that popped in is, are we related? Well, are we, Alicia? Did you hear me?
What was the question?
The question was, are we related? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we're husband and wife. We're a husband and wife team. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay. With that said, I think we got most of them. We really want to thank everybody for their participation. And Alicia, you want to close us out?
Well, thank you very much. Our goal was to make sure that you stop to think about what you probably should be thinking about as you look in and through retirement. Let's make sure that we're not looking at things in a vacuum, but we are looking at things all on one plate, how they impact each other and how it impacts our future plans in retirement. So thank you so much for your time today. Hopefully it's very beneficial, and we hopefully will look forward to seeing you at your complimentary review. Make it a great one.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. Have a blessed day.